You asked a bunch of questions to a guy who loves to talk. Settle in, this is going to be a long video. What is up, you guys, and welcome to this special edition of Will Drum for Food. You ask the questions, I give you the answers. So, lots of stuff, lots of good questions. I got some great ones here, so I'm gonna start the first one I got. It's from Richard Stewart, and it is simply, what are you famous for? Gotta be honest, I'm really not famous for anything. I'm famous for kind of being a goofball. I'm kind of famous for being a lunatic. But you might be referring to something in my description where I said I played in a band in the 90s that you may have heard of, but probably didn't. Fact is, you probably never heard of this band. But I was in a band in the 90s. We were kind of big in the Milwaukee area. And I made my exit from this band. And like 2 months later, they got signed to a record deal. And the label they got signed to is, it was a major, well, I guess you would call it a major independent label. And the label that this band got signed to was notorious for being super cheap. So what they did was, rather than pay, this is back in the 90s when the music business was still a music business, you know. You had to go into a recording studio and hire a producer and all that. So rather than pay money and book studio time for this band to go re-record the album, they just remixed it and re-released the one I played on. There was really no success whatsoever. I mean, like a lot of bands that got signed back then, it was they released an album, they sold a few thousand units, and then the label dropped them. But there was a song on a couple video game soundtracks, and there was actually a song that I played drums on, that is on the 3,000 Miles to Graceland movie soundtrack, which is the old, it's an older Kevin Costner. God, who else is in that? Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell, where they play the Elvis impersonators that rob casinos. So I guess that's what he's referring to. I'm not sure. Next question comes from Troy. He says, what are some pieces of gear that you've let go in the past and later regretted? Favorite ride cymbal you've used in your lifetime? And have you ever used Zildjian new beat hi-hats? Well, I'll start with the new beats. New beats are currently my main gigging hi-hats. I've been playing with them for, I don't know, man, 30 years, I guess. It's all I've really ever owned. As far as a ride cymbal goes, I've had, I think I've covered this in the past, but I've had basically 2 ride cymbals in my entire life. I had a 22-inch late 60s Zildjian A-Ride, which is actually the one I'm using in all my videos. It was my main cymbal. It came with my first drum set. It's the only thing I kept from that drum set, which I will get to next. I basically used it till I bought my K-Ride 2 summers ago. So that's, now my K-Ride is my main gigging ride cymbal, and the 22-inch A has become just my practice cymbal, my downstairs bashing around in that kit cymbal. Now, that cymbal came with this particular kit, and you want to talk about regret. My very first drum set that I got when I was 11 or 12 or whatever would have been a Keystone Badge Ludwig Mod Orange. It was the same drum set that John Densmore from The Doors used. The wrap on it was horrid. I remember I hated it when I was a kid. I'm like, this thing is so ugly. You know, Bunny Carlos explained that wrap as clown vomit. And it literally looks like clown vomit. It's orange and purple and yellow. It's really, really a horrible color. But, so that drum set on the market today, it'd probably command, you know, in really good condition, $1,800 to $2,000, you know, and I sold it to a friend of mine so I could get a Rockstar. I could get a Tama Rockstar. And they abused it. And I tried tracking it down years later, and it's long gone. So yes, I heavily, heavily regret letting that drum set go. Next question. Steve the Drummer. Who is your favorite band of all time and why? That's a tough question. I really don't have a favorite band, I guess. I have bands I love. And I guess at the top of that list would probably be Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin. It's pretty much what I listen to most of the time is just, I love Zeppelin. There was just something about that band and the songs they wrote, and it's not even the songs they wrote, it's how they interacted with each other musically. Just amazing. If you listen to the How the West Was Won, triple live album, 3 discs, and you go and you listen to Bonham and John Paul Jones interplay on Dazed and Confused and Whole Lot of Love, and just the three of them, Jimmy Page too, man. It was just, there was something magical about that band, and I've gotten arguments with people in the past. Well, they weren't very good live, and if you listen to, they always say Song Remains the Same is a good example. They weren't a live band. Bullshit, man. Go back and listen to the bootlegs. There's a channel called Led Zeppelin Bootlegs on YouTube, and it's nothing but bootlegs. And if you go back and you listen to the concerts from like 69 to 72, that 3-year span, you want to talk a band that was an absolute freaking machine. Go back and listen to some of those live bootlegs. There's never, I'm convinced that in that 3 years, there's never been a better live band, and there never will be a better live band. They were just incredible. Just an absolute wrecking crew of a band. So, I guess I would have to say Led Zeppelin. All right, this is actually a great question. It's from Ty Walker, our friend from across the pond. He says he's got his is a 2-part question. So his first one is, do you think U.S. drummers generally have a better starting point due to marching band in high schools? That's totally not a thing over in the UK. That's a great question. And I would say, yeah. I'd have to say, yeah. I think it's an advantage. Under one caveat, though. Caveat? Caveat? I don't know. Using big words again. You actually you have to practice what you learn. I've got kids I teach who they're in marching band and they're horrid rudimental drummers because they just don't practice it, you know. So I think it's like anything. Yeah, it's a big advantage if you use it to your advantage and put the time into it. I think it's a huge advantage, you know. I was pretty, you know, rudiments were kind of not the best, but that's because I didn't put a little time into it. And I would assume if I never had that knowledge from being in marching band in high school, that they probably would have been worse. So yeah, I got to say it's an advantage. And part 2 is who or what was the person, thing, moment that got you into drumming when you started? This is like a lot of guys, like older guys who were, you know, that grew up in the 60s talking about seeing Ringo on the Ed Sullivan Show. For me, it was actually, there was a girl that lived next door to me who was a couple years older, and she was always the one, she always got the cool albums, you know. And I always kind of been interested in drums a little bit. I had played piano growing up, like when I was like 6. 6 or 7, my parents started me out playing piano, and but I had always had an interest in drums. But for me, I remember the exact moment. It was this girl who lived next door. She was a couple years older, so she was maybe, if I was 10, I think I was 10. If I was 10, she was I think she was 12. And she brought over High and Dry by Def Leppard. And I don't know how she ever heard of Def Leppard. She had an older brother, so maybe he got... But I remember dropped the needle on it, and the first time I heard Let It Go, I was like, yes, that is what I want to do. It was a eureka moment, and from then on, I just absorbed all the rock music at that time that was on MTV. So this is 1983, 1984. So Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, the Scorpions, Ozzy Osbourne. So this is just music that just permeated my existence. And I remember I would sit on the floor in front of the TV. We got MTV when I was 10. So we got cable when I was 9 or 10. So, and MTV was, just starting to come out, and they actually played music videos instead of reality shows about girls that are pregnant. But I would set up these Sears catalogs or different books, so a Penny's catalog. Remember, you had for you guys that are older, you had the Wish book, and then you had the big thick Sears catalog, right? So I would set up different catalogs, and they would just be different drums. And I had a pair of drumsticks. My mom bought me a pair of drumsticks, and I would just play along. That's literally how I learned how drums interact with music, is by playing along to music videos on MTV on a bunch of catalogs and books. So there you go. If you have the will and you have the desire, you can literally make anything work as a drum set. So there's no excuses. Well, I don't have a drum. If you got drumsticks and a will, you can make it work. Okay. Uzi Boo Boo Doo Doo. This is Uzi's question. Have you ever played an Ekit? Do you like it? Do you hate me, Jeff? Why do you hate Ekit drummers? All right. I've played an Ekit. I actually own an Ekit. I have a Roland TD11. Do I like it? Nah, I hate it. I hate playing it. I've gone through this before in some of my videos. I despise playing that drum set. It is literally, it's soulless to me. I hate it. I hate the way it sounds. I hate the way it feels. I don't like anything about it. But it does serve a purpose. I use it to play a lot of little supper club gigs and things like that with duos. So it does serve a purpose. And man, it's just, I just don't like them. I just don't. I suppose, I have played the Roland TD30 and the more high-end Roland kits, or Jay's Joe Becky kit. I think I could get into that. Part of the reason I don't like them is I got the little, little rubber pads, and it just looks kind of dorky. That's part of the reason, and I don't like the way it feels, but I have played a TD30, and that's much more enjoyable. So I think part of the reason why I hate my E-kit so much is because it's my E-kit, and I didn't want to drop $4,000 or $5,000 on a TD30, so I bought a TD11. And I don't like it, but it is what it is. And I don't hate E-kit drummers. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. And if you're playing on an E-kit, it's better than playing on nothing. It's my opinion. So if you live in an area where you can't play on an acoustic drum set, you gotta do the E-kit. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's better than not playing at all. Tony from All Classic Drum Covers. How long have you been playing drums, and what inspired you to play drums? Who is your favorite drummers? All right. Well, I already got into the moment that the reason I play drums. But how long have I been playing drums? Let's see. I am 44. I started when I was I really started playing when I was 11. So it's 40 something, 42. Yeah, 42 years. So yeah. So 43, 40, how old am I? I don't even know how old I am. I've been playing a long time, So I started playing drums when I was like 10 or 11, but I guess I really didn't start until I was like 14, when I was like in 8th grade. That's like when it really hit me. Like, this is what I want to do, because I discovered Led Zeppelin, and John Bonham is my favorite drummer of all time. He is. There's something about the way that guy played that I can relate to. You know, and I don't know what it is. You know, I got into Neil Peart, and I got into Rush, and I played along with the Rush albums and all that. But I keep coming back to Bonham. There was just something, the way that guy played, and like I said before, his interaction with the band and how he did all that. You know. All right. So next one, Cry Drummer. What is your most favorite song to play drums along to? Do you have any drumming ruts? Ah, man, that's a really tough question. I don't really have a favorite song to play along to. I have a favorite style of music to play along to. And like, what I love to play is kind of like I said before, that late 70s, early 80s, just real straight ahead rock. I'm freaking good at it. Not to toot my own horn, but man, that's what I'm good at. And the reason I'm good at it is because I love to do it, you know? I love to play along with, like on gigs. I love it when I get to play like Zeppelin. I do the Judas Priest tribute, which is fun because it's old school metal. I would love to do like I love to play along with Iron Maiden type stuff, you know. Zeppelin, older Def Leppard. By the way, if you've only heard Def Leppard Hysteria and to, you know, from Hysteria on, or even Pyromania, go back. If you're an old school fan of old school rock and heavy metal, go back and listen to Def Leppard High and Dry or On Through the Night. Def Leppard is one of these bands that was an incredible part of the new wave of British heavy metal that they've kind of getting forgotten about. And because of like their years later, they got into the pop metal thing. But man, go listen to those early Def Leppard albums. I mean, it is just kick butt rock and roll, man. It really is. And do I have any drumming ruts? Yeah, I do have drumming ruts. Everybody has ruts. You know, Tony Williams had ruts. Buddy Rich, well, maybe not Buddy Rich, but the important thing is what do you do to get out of that rut? Now, me, I went and took some lessons, flat out. I mean, I went and took some lessons. I start thinking outside the box. If I'm in a rut, I'll pick up the New Breed book and I'll work out the New Breed book and, you know, try to work some patterns out, just because it gets you in a different mindset and a different way of thinking. For me, when I'm in a rut, it's because my mind isn't working. You know, my mind and my ability aren't working together, and my mind is not allowing my abilities to think outside or start doing different things. So that's what I do if I'm in a rut. Drummate wants to know what got me into making YouTube videos. I flat out one day my very first video, the very first video I recorded on YouTube, a drumming video, was actually, it's called the Ludwig Vistalite drum tuning solo or something like that. And it was just something I made to share to a group on one of the like a drumming forum or something I was involved with, to actually literally talk about how I was tuning my drums. That's how I got into it, you know, and some people commented on that, and you know, some people said you suck, some people said you're awesome, and as far as the covers go, it was just one day I'm like, I'll try it, drop a cover, and I think I recorded about 6 or 7, and it was a lot of work then. It just was a lot of work for me to record a cover because I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have the interface, you know, and like I said, I'm kind of, my standards of what I put out are kind of, you know, I won't sound arrogant, but my standards are high. Some people might think they're low. Some people might think they're ridiculous. But I really don't like putting out stuff that doesn't sound good. So I just never really did it until I bought this Behringer stage box, which I was just going to use as a PA, and it turned out it was great for recording. And as an interface, I'm able to, and it's not a lot of work to get set up, so everything is much quicker and much easier. So that's why I've continued to do it. And that's why I've grown with the amount of videos I'm putting out. And also, like, I don't look at myself as a YouTube drummer, I guess. Which is weird. I love making videos. I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. I play this character, kind of, but not really, you know? So I'm like this boisterous guy in my videos. At the same time, you know, I like being that guy, I guess, is weird, because I remember going back when I was in high school, and one of the drama teachers really wanted me to do drama. He's like, you're not. We were doing a playthrough in one of our classes or something like that, and I guess I was acting. I don't know. And he's like, you have a way. You're not embarrassed to play a character, you know. And I probably should have done drama. I don't know. Maybe I would have been an actor. I don't know. I just thought it was like, I mean, like the band kids were nerdy enough for me. I couldn't imagine like the drama kids were like, ugh, boy. So I never really got into it. But I mean, I like playing drums, but I really, really love doing these kind of videos. I love talking to a camera. I don't know why, I just do. Johnson Drummer, what is your favorite thing about YouTube? Just what I said, making videos, being this guy talking to a camera. I love doing this. This is a lot of fun for me. I'm really enjoying myself, and I have a dog that just doesn't seem to. She just will not stay out of the videos, you know. Rob, is it? I don't know if it's Nienhaus or Ninehouse. What do you do for a living? I am an audio visual tech who is going back to work this week. Finally, what I do is, if you've ever seen, gone to a convention or gone to any kind of training, or like when Tim Cook introduces the new iPhone, all right, and he's got the screen and he's got all the multimedia and all that. That's what I set up. Not always on that big of scale. I've done big stuff like that, but I'm in hotels now, so mostly I'm doing more smaller stuff, like just basic projection and screens and maybe a microphone here and there. I mean, I've worked in convention centers. I've done big stuff, but for the most part, you know, I'm doing small stuff. So and it is like it was a transition that made sense because of my musical background. You know, I was comfortable with technology. I was comfortable with mixing boards and monitors and things like that from being in recording studios and setting them up. You know, so I just kind of like fell into it. I literally just fell into this job. I've been doing it for about 20 years. I was out of it for a while, and it was just apparent. It's like, this is the only thing I can stand doing for a day job, and you can make pretty good money on it. But the hours suck, man. I mean, I've worked some of the shifts that I've worked with, like, it's like almost like a doctor on call. Like I went into work one day on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I left Tuesday night at 10 o'clock, worked straight through. I mean, so those are some of the days that we have in this industry, you know. AR drummer, Adam, how many kits have you owned or currently owned? Boy, how much memory I got left in my cell phone. Let's see here. I currently own, all right, I'm going to start with my Ludwig rocker, my Ludwig Vistalite. Let's get the two Ludwig kits out of the way. So that's two right there. I have a PDP MXR That's 3. I have currently 2 Rogers kits, but one's gonna get sold, so I'm gonna count that one. So I got 2 Ludwigs, PDP, Rogers, Slingerland. So that's 5. I got a Slingerland kit, and I have my Ekit. So that's 6. God, I'm missing one. I gotta be missing one. No, okay. So yeah, that's right. That's what I currently own. I currently own 6. How many have I owned? Let's go back to playing my very first drum set, which was, like I talked before, was the Ludwig Mod Orange, just like John Densmore owned. All right. And then I had an old school Tama Imperial Star. I had 2 of those with the concert toms that I would put together. And then I had, I wanted another drum set so I could, because my school, believe it or not, my school had a really good jazz program, but we didn't have a drum set. So I had to have a drum set at school. So that's where I got rid of the Mod Orange and got that rocker kit so I could have a quality, because the Mod Orange wasn't good for jazz. And honestly, it was a rocker kit, but at least it had bottom heads on it. So I could tune it up. So that was something I could keep at school. So, all right, there's 4. It was the Rockstar kit. And then I had a Pearl BLX. That's 5. So, yeah, and then plus what I already have. So that's all the kits I've owned. Oh, no, there's more. There's more. I forgot. Let's put it this way. I've had a lot of drum sets. I've had a lot of drum sets over the years. I got a ton of snare drums, ton of drum sets. Oddly enough, not a lot of cymbals, though. The last question. Here's the last question. The one we've all been waiting on. Kate. Drummer Kate. Little Kate from she's from the Ukraine, I believe. Wants to know what drumsticks are your favorite and why. This is good. Okay. Here's what I've been using for a while. Vic Firth. I always use Vic Firths. I used Zildjian for a long time, and then I switched to Vic Firth. And what I used to use was Extreme 5Bs when I was on the road and I was playing a lot, and they were durable, and I didn't have to worry about volume so much because I was playing venues with big PAs, and volume wasn't an issue. So, and I could get a lot of power with a longer stick. About 2-3 years ago, volume was becoming an issue in a lot of the gigs I was playing. So I switched to these Vic Firth American Classic 8Ds. Now, I found I was breaking a lot of them, especially when doing the videos, because I can hit harder in my videos, So I was breaking a lot of them. So I decided I was going to go back to a 5A. I was going to go back to something smaller than a 5B I was using before, and start using a 5A. So this is great. I go to the music store, one of my local independent music stores. You should always support an independent music store if you have one in your area. Okay? If all you guys Guitar Center, not all you guys Guitar Center. But if you can support the little mom and pop stores, because sometimes they give you really good deals. And this is one of those instances. I was getting ready to go in and buy my normal 4 pairs of Vic Firth drumsticks. I was going to start using 5As. And, I was expecting I'm going to pay my $35 for 4 pairs of drumsticks or whatever. And I saw this bag of sticks on top of the stick display. And it was just it was a case of drumsticks in a bag. So I asked the guy, I'm like, dude, what's the story on that bag of sticks? He goes, actually, what they are is, if you ever see those hot rod sticks, the painted drumsticks, he goes, what they are is they're unpainted. So I'm like, really? I'm like, how much for a case? He goes, $30. I'm like, I'll take them. Who cares if they break? If I break a lot of them, they're $30. Well, got them, and you know what? This is it right here. These are just regular old 5As. They're the same length. I prefer a little bit longer, but for the price, I will put up with a shorter drumstick. The only thing I've noticed about these, I played a gig, and I've had 2 practices using these kits, two band practices using these sticks. The only thing I've noticed about them is they are a little rougher. So what I did is I just took a little sandpaper and just sanded them up real quick, because the reason they're rougher is because they're blanks to be painted. I didn't, like I said, I played a gig and I had 2 practices. I didn't break one, I didn't chip one. They're not warped. I rolled them on a counter. They're not warped. So my favorite brand of drumstick right now is the cheapest one I can find, which is these. So, all right, I am 1/2 hour into this video as I speak, and that is the last question. I'm sorry if I went long. I'm sorry if I bored you. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.